I'm going to discuss last night's reading from Van Oosting and Lowney. The first reading, vocation education from Van Oosting. And remember, what he gets at was these two questions. What's the difference between the professional and the vocational approach, and what are four characteristics of the vocational approach? So, first, the professional approach, what Van Oosting is trying to suggest is that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the professional approach. We need this approach of pros and cons, um, how much money are you going to make, all those things. I mean, somebody's got to pay the bills. But what he's suggesting is that we don't limit ourselves just the professional. We have to include the professional and the vocational, another approach. And of course, many of you are right there thinking about next year we have, I believe, our pillars from the zoo, if I've got my images correct. So the vocation approach, let's get into that. What are the characteristics of it and what are some misconceptions about it? So the vocational approach has four characteristics. And one is that it has a special purpose. Two is that there is this special gift. Three, there's a caller, and there's a life of sacrifice, faith, and often darkness. So let's break these apart a little. So the special purpose, to my left is an image of Dr. Li Wenlian. He is the Chinese doctor who actually discovered the spread of the coronavirus, and he tried to alert the authorities. And eventually what happened is because he was so committed to alerting the authorities and caring for the patients, he eventually died of the disease. And so his gifts as far as a doctor, his talents were all used to address this crisis of the coronavirus in 2019. A second characteristic of a vocation is a special gift. I don't know if you got a chance to view the Dolphin Players musical performance last February before we shut down of Chicago. During that performance, one particular scene came to mind. Our friend Alex is in it, seated there. And it was just this incredible scene with all this activity and coming and going. And Alex was in the midst of it, acting as a puppeteer for one of the other players. And so a great deal of talent and gift to be able to pull this off. And so these gifts, these talents, these abilities that we have, God uses them for a special reason. A third characteristic of vocation is a caller outside. So we have to look around at what's going on around us in the world and start paying attention to um, what makes me question, what has me wonder. And so one question that came to my mind is in April of 2020, the first, I think, number of cases of COVID-19 in the city of St. Louis were all with people of color. And so the question became like, why is it so prevalent in people of color? And so we have to think about our vocation in terms of the historical moment that we live in. Last but not least, the fourth characteristic is that a vocation will bring us a life of sacrifice, faith, and often darkness. Here's an example of a group of Catholics who came together, I believe, in June of 2020 to pray for an end to racism. And so anytime we take a stand against an evil, there's going to be a sacrifice that we pay. So one question to think about from day one is we talked about social transcendence in the Advancement to Wholeness article, and now we're talking about vocation. So the question becomes again, why does social transcendence normally precede or come before vocation? Take a minute to think about that. Okay, let's go on to the second one. This is from our friend Chris Lowney, once again, Ignatian spirituality writer and business writer, voice in here. So the question is how do I find my vocation? So, what he suggests is that if we're going to find our vocation, we have to look at the world outside of us, like I spoke about with the world we're in with COVID-19 and systematic racism. But we also have to go deep within. Parker Palmer, a writer, says that the vocation is going to be around who was the person I was born to be, and how is it going to fulfill my original selfhood given to me by God at birth. In other words, it's going to be deep within me. Another way that we find our vocation is that we pay attention to what people tell us about our gifts and talents. And you're going to get an opportunity to do that, to interview one of your friends, a family member, a SLU High uh, staff member, to talk about what they see in you, to pay attention to that. Could be the seed for a possible vocation. Third is that, as I've already been mentioned, we have to think about where our deepest passion is and where the world needs. And those two meet up, and there's going to be a vocation there, most likely. Another way that we can find our vocation is we just have to pay attention to the circumstances we find ourselves in. The things that we feel out of control about, we don't know any answers. Most of the time, we're going to find something that God is calling us, inviting us to, certainly in the present moment. Like, how can I be my best self as a SLU High theology teacher, as a senior at SLU? And then what is God inviting me to in the future, in the next 5 years? Things like that. Those most often will bring us to our vocation. All right.